If I don't want to be a veterinarian when I grow up, because I might change it to the actress, but I mostly want to be a veterinarian. I'll be a cop, a fireman, a lawyer, a math teacher, and a German teacher. A scientist. When I grow up, I want to have a little girl. Policía. I'm going to be the president, that's for sure, and probably a surgeon, probably a brain surgeon. And I want to be what you call it, that say jokes and everything. What you call that guy that he works to say in a displays, that I be on stage and people be eating and I be saying jokes. A comedian. And I'll be a comedian. I'm a good comedian. I said 4 things. I'm going to be working hard.
This is a film about growing up in America. In 1991, we set off to film a group of children with diverse backgrounds and living in various places across the country. We asked them about the world, their dreams, and their hopes for the future. Every 7 years, we return to see where they are in their lives. Now they are 21. What has become of them? Are they thriving? Are some failing? How have the conditions that surround them affected who they are? And how have they changed in making the leap from childhood through adolescence into adulthood?
So many different factors are up in the air. What you want to do, where you want to live, relationships. There's this one phrase that I hear over and over and over again. This is the time in your life. Like this, better do it now because you're not going to get a chance to do it again. And that's almost like paralyzing. I feel this sense of like panic. Like, what if I find myself settled in 3 years and there are all these things that I didn't do that I wanted to do? Everything is wide open, and I'm living in my family's house in Westchester.
Here. Oh, film me! Film me! Film me once!
When we first began filming over 14 years ago, the former Soviet Union was beginning to come apart. The first Gulf War was underway, and the creator of the World Wide Web was announcing his invention to the public. In New York City, 3 young girls, Lucy, Kate, and Alexis, all age 7, were enjoying a birthday party on Manhattan's Upper East Side.
This summer, I went to Vienna. I usually go to the Caribbean. I usually go to Santa Fe. And I usually go to hot places, deserts. Why do you want to be rich when you grow older? I want to be rich because then I never run out of money. And I also want to be rich because that's one of the things in my life that I always like to be. I like to be rich. I have a feeling.
I think there is an enormous emphasis on the accumulation of material wealth. Anyone my age looks like dressed to the nines, wearing designer bags and pearls. And do I look like one of them? You could say I do. I don't feel like one of them.
Alexis, rich doesn't just mean that you have a lot of money. Did you know that? Rich also means very fortunate.
Lucy, Kate, and Alexis attended Nightingale, a prestigious all-girls private school.
I remember seeing 7 Up when I was 8 for the first time, thinking, oh, that's who Lucy, Alexis, and I are, lined up against all the other kids. And I was kind of mortified and ashamed. Like there was something fundamentally creepy about living on the 17th floor of an apartment building and just being so far away from, like, just all the concrete.
By age 14, Kate had left the city and moved to the suburbs to live with her mother when her parents separated.
When I went to school like Nightingale, most of the parents, they're so driven. They care so much. The kids care that they get into these great schools. Does that really matter in your life? Are you going to look back and think, oh, well, my life would have been so much more enriched if I'd went to Yale or Harvard? Is that really the purpose to succeed and be the top? Is that really what's important?
I think my generation in particular was brought up being told that we could do whatever we wanted to do, but not in a way that was necessarily good. Like you were sort of led to believe that you were what you do rather than who you are.
At 14, Alexis was still living on the Upper East Side and had been accepted to Chapin, one of New York's most competitive girls' schools.
Chapin puts immense pressure on you. I mean, even, like, friends compete with friends. Like, oh, what did you get on that test? And you'll be like, oh, I got, B plus or whatever. And they're like, oh, well, I got an A, and ha, ha, ha. There's just so much academic competitiveness to be the best.
It's semi-easy to get straight A's in high school. A little bit harder at Chapin, but I was able to do it. It's very hard to get straight A's in college, and I pretty much did that.
It sounds like you are just doing work all the time. I can never do that.
Work and swim, that's my life.
I started competitively swimming by 7th grade, made JV by 8th grade. In high school, I was #1 backstroker. When people would be going to bed after spending nights partying at 5:30 in the morning, and I'm going and waking up at the pool, I put a lot of other things on hold, like college social life.
A few miles and a world away from the Upper East Side, we met Louis living with his family in a homeless shelter on Manhattan's Lower East Side.
I only got 2 uncles, 1 titi, my mother, my father, and 6 kids living. So that's how many there's 11 people living with me.
By the time Louis was 7, his father had left the family. His mother had developed a drug addiction, and he had already taken on some of the responsibility for caring for his younger brothers and sisters. As Louis got older, his mother could no longer care for her children, so Louis was left to live with his father.
Everything was all cool, so we had problems. My father, got a little crazy sometimes. He drank, so we went to a foster care, and we stayed there. The only good thing about it was I got more understanding of things, how things work, who's there for you, who's not there for you,
Louis was eventually able to reunite with his mother in Milwaukee when she completed her rehabilitation program.
My mom, she really helped me stay strong. She got us back, she won us back, and now we're living with her, so everything turned out good.
Milwaukee just got full of bad memories. Things got a little rough after you guys did the 14 up. My mom fought hard for us and got us back, But wasn't not even a year later that things went back down the drain. She'd be gone 2-3 days at a time. We didn't know where she was, and I had stayed home a lot to take care of my brothers and sisters because she wasn't around, And if she did come home, she wasn't functioning, she wasn't in the right, she didn't have the ability to take care of the kids. So I would have to stay home either way it went.
Now at 21, Louis has returned to New York City to break from his family back in Milwaukee and get a fresh start.
So once at 18, literally a week after my birthday, I was in basic training for the Army. Then from then on, I was on my own.
It's gonna be good. I know that. It was hard before, it got better. It's hard now, it's gonna get better. So I'm just looking forward for the better part,
And now that I'm on my own, I feel like I've kind of neglected them. But in a way, if I'm down there with a horrible job, you know, trying to take care of those kids, it's not going to work out in the long run. I figure I get out of here, you know, get out of the whole situation, doing favors for everyone, take care of me.
Everybody attention.
Once I'm stable, job, home, career, then I can go ahead and start taking care of each of them.
I come out here about 1 week in a month. Currently, I am a machinery technician, so most of the things I do here on base is general maintenance, from spackling to drywalling to putting in air conditioners and refrigeration, and we even do dishwashers sometimes.
Paper off like that.
And like this. This is more than enough, so you see how I leave a little bit behind?
Yeah, mark it up top and then
You're gonna mark it twice.
in the middle.
The camaraderie in the Coast Guard, from my experience in the last months or so, is great. I mean, they really, really look out for their own here.
It ain't bad.
I get it. Everyone's out to take care of each other. And we all have the same mission, you know. We work together, we get it done, and that's what matters.
If you had one wish that could come true, what would that wish be?
For everybody to have a good life in the world, and to give money to the poor, even if it's not Christmas. And that's
What would your wish be?
that I could do anything I want. Whenever I want it, and never run out of wishes for doing whatever I want. What kind of wish is that?
When we first met Eric at age 7, he was attending the lab school at the University of Chicago and living in the suburbs west of the city.
I'm going to be the president, that's for sure, and probably a surgeon, probably a brain surgeon.
Eric's business ambitions started at an early age. By his 14th birthday, Eric was CEO of an internet company. His business had offices in Chicago and Hong Kong and employed 10 workers.
Just as somebody might be a good, golfer, a good football player, whatever. I guess I'm a good CEO. I've got a planning meeting in the morning about this grant proposal and then investor meetings. So depending on what the news looks like tonight, it's going to depend.
Now at 21, Eric is raising $10 million in venture capital for a biotech company he started with researchers from the University of Texas Cancer Center.
Ultimately, what we're going to be able to do is screen and diagnose cancer without the current invasive procedures that are required. Business has been an interest of mine. So has medicine. I think the last time we talked, I was still interested in medicine, and that sort of kept through all these years. How are you doing today?
I'm fine.
My name's Eric Nicolaides. I'm one of the medical students here. My medical career officially began when I was granted admission to med school right out of high school. Are you on medication right now for blood pressure? I finished my 3 years in undergrad at Northwestern, and then I got a major in economics.
Do you get good grades?
Straight A's.
Do you have a 4.0?
Yeah. I love being in medicine and being in business. When I was younger, I always thought it had to be a fight between the two, one or the other. What am I going to choose? What track am I going to be on? And I've somehow managed to straddle the fence pretty securely, and I love it. Take care.
And how about you, Brandon? Do you know what you want to be when you grow up?
Not really, because I do have lots of years until that is.
Brandon lived in Chicago and attended the same school as Eric.
I think that my life has changed. Well, it hasn't changed too much. Well, My dad started a new company. That's pretty much the biggest thing that's really changed in my life.
What day is it today? Saturday! What day is it today? Saturday! It's Saturday! Saturday! 1, 2, 3, 4! Ready? Come on! Come on! Try to come right here! Come on! Try to right! What's left?
I came here physically at 280 pounds. Never had a girlfriend and just had like really low self-esteem. And I just kind of, something clicked one day early on freshman year, and I just decided to do something about it. I played racquetball, basketball, roller hockey, rugby, and I just did something every day for about an hour. I lost 70 pounds in about a year and a half. I guess my body changed, and with that obviously came kind of this emotional change about how I perceive my body.
And my parents always make sure that I don't ride my bike too far or talk to strangers, and they've taught me all the things I need to know. And they but I don't feel too overprotected though.
My parents are wonderful, they're incredible parents, but they're very involved, and were kind of very involved in my life. A lot of the reason why I struggled with doing things for myself was because of attention deficit disorder. I was very forgetful and I couldn't organize my life. Like my mom very much organized my life in high school. I hadn't really done anything for myself.
Brandon moved west to attend Pomona College in Southern California. He turned his childhood disorder into his college focus, majoring in neuroscience with a concentration on ADHD.
I felt like I needed to be away from my parents, certainly not within a day's car drive, if you will, to kind of grow in a way I feel like I needed to grow, essentially to become more independent.
I think I get the brown color on my skin from the slaves, because my great-great-grandfather and grandmother was a slave. My four parents. I thought that was pretty stupid. What? Making black people slaves and stuff. There's white people whipped slaves. I know. I heard all about that.
He also participates in a mentoring program at the college.
Oh, wow. Every African-American freshman has a mentor that they're assigned through the Office of Black Student Affairs, and I participated in the program the last 3 years. Coco's from Nigeria. He's a really good kid. I met him last year. He was a freshman, and he was my Office of Black Student Affairs mentee. We just kind of hit it off really well, and so it just kind of worked out that we lived together. So weird.
This is the poem that we're doing at the Martin Luther King Assembly in January for his birthday. I'm the young man, full of strength and hope, tangled in the ancient endless chain of profit, power, gain, of grab the land, of grab the gold, of grab the ways of satisfying need, of work the man, of take the pay, of owning everything for one's own greed.
What seems to be almost assumed and crucial to what people stereotype as the African American experience is a kind of lower income or lower middle class experience as well, as though it's part of the black experience to kind of be in a financial struggle. And so that was kind of always hard for me to be around, because I didn't have that kind of experience and that struggle. And I think racism kind of manifests itself in these microcosms. It's kind of everyday little assumptions that people might make, and nothing kind of on this grand scale. Even though I have been called a nigger to my face before in St. Louis. That was interesting. But I'm always very conscious of what the people around me are thinking of me and how they may perceive me in a certain social setting.
Student council, and he got picked. He ran for student council, he got picked. I ran for student council, and I got picked. Yeah, and everybody follows us. It's like because they always want to play with us. Trick or treat! Thank you.
Mike, Vicky, and Doug all grew up in a close-knit working-class neighborhood on the south side of Chicago.
The south side is just completely different than any other city. It's very casual, very homey type feeling. I mean, we lived within a mile of almost all of our friends. You know, we all went to the same grammar school, the three of us, obviously.
The south side of Chicago did something right because there's a lot of strong families in the south side of Chicago. And I think that has a great deal to do with how we turned out.
I was watching a TV show, and then there was the people playing Nintendo to get money. So I wanted to be that when I grew up.
My dream is to, because I really like playing guitar. I'd like to play guitar in a band. Oh, we're Threshold of Pain. The people who play alternative, they couldn't play what the metal guys were playing, but the metal guys could play what the alternative guys are playing, in their sleep. I mean, it's a lot more talent is required.
Mike worked his way from the blue-collar neighborhood he grew up in to one of America's top universities.
I went to the University of Chicago. Definitely not your traditional college experience. There was very little crazy frat partying and stuff of that nature. It was mostly competitions to see who was in the library more that night. It's really kind of sad, I guess.
I studied English literature and cinema and media studies.
What do you hope to do with that?
Go to school more, I guess. I don't know. They're not the most... No one's lining up to give me job offers with those two majors.
Dude, this job sucks.
Mike is putting the finishing touches on his student film, a movie entitled Die, Zombies, Die.
So let's get ready to send those undead bastards back to the grave.
I think my dream is very simple and totally tangible. I want to make films that I want to make. If I can't make a living off that, that's fine. I'll do it in my spare time for as long as I can, for as long as I have time to do that. What influenced me the most was my early childhood. You know, when I was maybe 7 or 8, I would often hang out with the kid that lived next door to me. And our imaginations were insane, right? We would play with action figures and create these elaborate stories that went along with the games we were playing.
I mean, if I just looked at some box, I'd be like, yeah, it's a box. But when I was 7, it was like oh, it could be like a spaceship. Yeah, that was a big thing. The box was like a spaceship or something like that.
If I can go into something like education or any kind of arts education, I have a fair amount of experience in that. I really enjoy it. But it's kind of strange because I know that's what I want to do for a long time. It's almost like I don't want to do it now. I want to go and, play around and do all kinds of other stuff before I permanently entrench myself in the teaching position.
Let's go over the Mass that we're going to have celebrating All Saints Day. We're going to start out with Douglas, and Douglas is going to be giving a petition. Douglas, do you know your petition?
Yes.
Can you read it, say it for us?
That we may follow Jesus throughout our lives the same Peter did. We pray to the Lord.
All right, and then everybody will say,
I want to be a marine somethings after that. A marine something, and I study about all kind of fish and stuff. And my eye doctor's son, he discovered a new kind of shrimp.
Doug lives in the house he grew up in and works at a nearby pet store.
Do everything here. Concentrate on dog sales, taking care of any of the animals, cleaning out the cages in the morning, all that type of stuff. Over here is where we keep the smaller animals, parakeets, over here hamsters. It's an albino king snake. Snakes are incredibly strong. Rose hares are pretty mellow little spiders. When I was younger, I was mostly into fish. I wanted to be a marine biologist when I was younger, and I did a lot of studying about that. And Animals has just always been one thing that has really interested me.
Doug works a second job at a local cemetery, landscaping and maintaining the grounds.
This hat right here is my cemetery-issued winter hat. None of the other guys wear them because they're kind of goofy looking, but so they end up giving them to me. I think I have like 3 or 4 of them. Sometimes, you know, just hard-working people are overlooked nowadays. That's the way it is, you know. I don't strive to be anything other than what I am. You know, you work, you do your best at what you do, and go from there. You know, you wouldn't think working at a cemetery, you'd think it's probably a little creepy, but it's actually very peaceful. I love it here. It's awesome to be outside. You know, you get the fresh air. It's very quiet, very nice here. There's tons of wildlife here. We have deer, there's coyotes, there's a couple different kinds of hawks, turkey vultures, there's 2 lakes. We've got turtles and fish, and it's a little bit of everything.
Grow up, because I might change it to the actress, but I mostly want to be a veterinarian. That's what I mostly want to be.
I think I want to be a physical therapist because I'm into sports a lot right now, so I think it would be fun to, like a sports therapist, to be around people who work with sports.
We went through my closets and then we drank some wine. Typical, you know, what we do when we don't want to go to the bars. Yeah.
I met this guy my second day at Quincy, and we started dating, and I felt like I fell in love, and he said he fell in love, and it's the first time I've ever said those words. Things were great for about a year, and then all of a sudden he would say things like, "You're not hanging out with your friends tonight, you're going to hang out with me." And if I would drink, it would turn into a huge fight. We wouldn't talk for days. Just constant fighting, constant fighting. Yeah. It was an excellent life lesson. I learned what I want and what I don't want in relationships, and I think that whole relationship has made me so incredibly strong.
I love it.
I know when I was 7, I said, I want to be happy, I want to have kids, you know, I want to be married, and that's the same thing I want now. And I'm happy with myself, and I'm happy when I was 7, I was happy when I was 14, and I'm happy now. I'm just happy with the person I became.
Touchdown? Touchdown!
Yes! Read the part below it. It says, the court, however, reversed and remanded.
Vicky is in her first year of law school at Northern Illinois University.
I was at one of our orientation things, and people going around, well, why are you in law school? Why are you in law school? It gets to me, and I'm just dead serious. To meet a lawyer. Why else would I be in law school? Come on now.
Well, to get married, to have kids, and have a good life.
I want the married, kids, nice house. I want the fairy tale. I grew up at my grandparents' with my older brother and 2 of our cousins, and always having family around. And it was just the greatest growing up experience. My grandparents came from Poland, brought over their 2 kids, had 4 more while they were in America, put them all through school, and then support everybody by running a bar. My grandpa was a big influence on school for me. You know, it's only grade school, but I graduated 2nd in my class, and I walked in and told him, and he quieted down the bar, and my granddaughter's so smart, and, you know, it's something that I remember. And even when he was dying, we got to say goodbye to him, and when I went to say goodbye to him, he just whispered in my ear, "I'm so proud of you."
And your market
has been floating up ever since.
To look at where the grandkids are now, I mean, there's 2 that are lawyers, I'm in law school, all of the older cousins have graduated from college. I still have my one grandma, and anytime we would play in this area for softball, she would be at my games. You know, this old lady, you know, freezing in the cold would be at my games, and it's just amazing, and I don't ever want to let anyone down.
Just a few miles away from Mike, Vicky, and Doug, we met Kenesha and Leroy at another elementary school on the south side of Chicago.
Kenesha, what are the 3 ways we get our needs?
Buying them, making them, and
growing them, all right. We're going to review again our wants and needs in social studies. All right, Kenesha, complete the first sentence. Needs are things what?
That we must have to live.
All right, class, complete the sentence. Wants are things
we would like to have, but we can live without them.
Kenesha and Leroy grew up in the infamous Robert Taylor homes. Stretching for nearly 2 miles along the expressway on the south side, the public housing project became notorious for its gangs, drugs, violence, and poverty.
Yeah, they be sitting under our building it. Then sometimes shoot out that wall thing. Ow. They ain't. Then they said, boo. His eye was laying on the floor. I saw it downstairs when I was going to school. I feel safe if they don't shoot me. I don't think about it unless they point the gun. Then I run in the house.
Deliver tonight, God. Set free tonight.
I pray that I wake up in the morning that I be safe, and I pray for him watching me and my sisters as we go back and forth to school. You have to believe in God because He's the only one that can count. You can count on for anything.
In an attempt to get away from life in the projects, Kenesha's family moved to a small apartment building nearby.
I didn't even go to the high school in my neighborhood because I wanted to go out. I wanted to be in a different neighborhood, meet different kids. I wasn't running from my area. I just wanted to live a different life that those that I grew up with couldn't do or didn't do. God is good. God is great. Let us thank Him for our food. Amen.
At 21, Kenesha moved even further away from the projects. She now lives with her extended family, including her mom, stepfather, 2 of her sisters, nieces, and nephew.
I started at 7 at the Robert Taylor homes. Then I made another move, which was safe. It was better. I wasn't really living on top of a bunch of people. Then now I made a 3rd move, which was even a better move. So we went through a lot as far as living from low income to affordable with Section 8 to basically our own mortgage.
By age 7, Leroy had been living at the Robert Taylor homes for 5 years. He was largely confined to his apartment and the 7th floor balcony where he played.
How come you have to ride your bike up here on the porch?
So nobody won't take it from me.
Well, what happens if you ride your bike down below in the park?
They gonna push me off of it and take it.
There's more members in the gang now. You might get caught up in the crossfire or something. What you wanna do? Smoking on that sticky line. We go to the lakefront, catch us a quick breeze. I was young, I used to like rap, but I ain't never used to do my own rap. And I started getting into my own stuff. Yeah, I'm finna go and kick something like this. I got this how I was raised, putting bloody bodies up in the grave. Don't ask me what I do if the situation is stupid. I'm overloaded, packing 150s and dubs. None of you scrubs can't get none of this voucher love. Cocking guys putting niggas in shock as I enter they block, dressed in all black, best to believe.
Leroy was eventually noticed by a local music label who agreed to produce his first album.
Coming up in the projects it's hard, you know. It's a struggle every day. Right when things was really about to, you know, progress real good, that's when I came here. And I don't know, I came here for a reason. Maybe it stopped me from getting killed on the street or something, you know. I think about that sometimes too. And claim I shot this guy. The police was just doing a regular routine sweep, you know. They just picked and choose somebody. I was sentenced to 12 years for attempt first-degree murder. We get an hour for yard every day. You walk the child, lunch, dinner, and breakfast. Come right back in, lock in, and school time. Them the only times I'm out. The rest of the time I'm in the cell. So if I ain't looking at something on TV or something, I'm writing, you know, keeping myself occupied. DJ Lee most steady throwing parties and it don't be over till 3 in the morning. Nigga been stomach crawling, falling. When I get out, I'm on studio business all day long, and I'm going to push my CDs, even if I got to push them out of the trunk of a car. Hit malls up and do my shows, book my shows, and that's it. And stay from up under the radar. That's all, you know.
This is a queen. This is a queen. What's the hardest thing about not speaking English?
De cuando no hablas en inglés. Aprender.
Julio arrived in the United States when he was 2 years old. His mother made the arduous journey, carrying Julio across the border from Central America.
Aquí duerme mi hermano. Yo duermo aquí. Mi mami y mi papi duermen aquí. Y aquí duerme Eric. Las casas están más feas en El Salvador. En El Salvador matan con pistolas más grandes y aquí matan con pistolas más chiquitas.
So my family kept on telling me, do well in school, so then you'll be successful and have a good job. And have a steady job, not a hard job.
I've been here for about 2 years now, about a year and a half. I'm a teacher assistant. The kids are like, who's this guy just walking around, and he's not the teacher, but then they start seeing that he's here to help. They start calling me Mr. Rivera, can you come and help me? So it's like, it's great just seeing, I think, when they raise their hand and really, like, I mean, want to be helped. And also, I think the first generation, so it's like first generation kids going to school. So it's a great program.
Do you have any idea what colleges you might apply to? Stanford and Harvard.
Let's jump into Colossians chapter 1, and who are we talking about here in this passage? Any guesses? Jesus. Okay, Jesus, yes. And what part of the body is Jesus? Okay.
My friend in high school, he was always inviting me to come out to service with him. Like several times, this guy was really persistent. He kept on asking me, and then just because he was so persistent in asking me, I told him, yeah, you know what, I'll go. Now you are the body of Christ, and each one of you is part of it. And it was a point where the Bible really showed me, I think what the word of God is, you know, and how to really, I think, live by it.
Julio lives in an apartment off campus with 4 other members of his congregation.
I think about it, it's like our spiritual family, you know. We try to just spend time with each other, whether seeing TV, playing video games, like reading the Bible. How's your day going? Pretty good?
It was good. My parents came to church, which is like 3 weeks in a row. It's a surprise.
No, that's good. That's good, yeah. I invited my parents, like, they don't want to come out, and they're concerned. I mean, like, you know what, make sure that wherever you go, that, like, that they're not, like, brainwashing you. They're not doing anything to, like, to really, like get to you. I love them and I respect them, and I think that, like, nothing has changed, but I just want my dad and mom to see it's like, wow, Julio's, like, I mean, he's different, like, not that he's different in a weird way, but it's a positive thing. I mean, I think it's always encouraging coming to service, seeing, especially being with the fellowship. It's always, I mean, it encourages my heart, and it kind of like God calls me to just a different, I think, standard, like kind of like to be holy and set apart, not put like school first or my family. I mean, I think I love my mom and dad, but it's gonna take time for them.
Reading the Bible a lot, and I think that God and Jesus are real people.
Ashton grew up in Lincoln, Nebraska.
I stand before you at the sacred Demele altar.
At 14, he was inducted to the Demele, a young fraternal order of the Masons.
Not far away rests the banner of our beloved country.
Just meet together every once in a while and do stuff for the community.
Eastern states identities, so the Western people say. When she climbed Old Rock Island.
You think it's important to do things for your community?
Yeah, that's kind of what Lincoln is pretty well known for. We help each other out a lot.
Growing up in a conservative family in a conservative part of the country, I was kind of just surrounded by that kind of mentality. But now I've kind of separated myself and been able to make decisions based on what I feel is right rather than what people are telling me to think.
Ashton left the boundaries of his hometown to attend Truman State University in Missouri.
I was on scholarship for the swim team my senior year. It's a great program. The people I've met are definitely going to be lifelong friends.
You gotta go to the top.
I started swimming when I was probably 5 or 6. Been doing it ever since. I completed my 4 years of eligibility in college, so now I'm just swimming recreationally. It's a great way to stay in shape. I feel that I'm a very amiable person. As far as I know, there's not a lot of people who dislike me.
Have you started tapering yet?
Oh, no. Not even close.
I'm originally kind of a shy person when I first meet people, but very quickly I'll come around and I'll usually become really good friends with just about anyone. I'd like to get into editing and publishing. I love books. Books are a great way to see how other people view the world.
We chased her and I said whoever catches her gets to try to kiss her.
Did you catch her?
Yeah, lots of times. But I still haven't done it.
2 summers ago, I took her out and I did it at the restaurant. I proposed to her at the restaurant.
Although I did ask him what he had in his pocket before we got in the car to go down here.
Yeah.
So I knew it was coming.
Swellen and I have been together for 4 years now. She's strong-willed, and she'll definitely make her opinion known, and I love that about her.
We'll probably start a family in 3-4 years. He'd like it to be
longer.
4.
I think if I had complete freedom, I think it would be wonderful to travel and to be able to write and about everything that I'd be able to see. I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to heading out on my own with Sue Ellen to start our life together.
I would definitely like to travel. I've been to a few places around the world, like Australia and England, but I mean, there's so many other places that I'd still like to visit.
I would like to go to Italy, but I don't know if we'll go there. That would be nice.
I would definitely go to Italy.
I want to see the world, Alaska, South Pole, North Pole, Africa, China, Tokyo. Most of my relatives are Japanese, and I want to talk to them like the way they talk.
We met Michael at age 7, living blocks away from the beaches of Santa Monica.
I, without question, need to go to both Ireland and Japan. I don't mean just like go to Japan and be like, dude, I'm Japanese too. Believe it or not, let's do lunch sometime. It's like I want to try to find people that are in my family tree. And I know that they're there. My dad's parents were both born in the States. They're both American citizens by birthright. Their parents were both Japanese nationals. My grandparents were interned and spent, over a year there. They lost everything. And it's funny, my grandparents never harbored any aggression or ill will to the American government. They subsequently raised my dad and aunt and uncle really American. We don't speak a lick of Japanese, but that is without question had a profound effect on my Japanese identity, because I don't have a Japanese identity, except for my name and whatever looks are discernible.
Michael's childhood desire to travel took him clear across the country to the East Coast. Having recently graduated from New York University, he works as a DJ in an East Village club.
I like to stick to myself, pretty much. I have friends and people I like to hang out with, but in the daytime it's kind of a different story. I like to be, on my own in Paris. Now that is a town to be on your own in the daytime. It's called flaneur. It's like flan, flaneur. Balzac came up with that. That means to kind of roam. Be a traveler of both time and space. I suppose I could be doing a lot more than I'm doing now. These past couple months have been rather dismal since school's been done, and I think that, I still talk to my ex-girlfriend, and overall kind of how I feel right now is I got my heart broken, man. It's going all right. I think I've got the flu. No one in particular.
Yeah?
Nothing from anything special.
Oh, how's that going?
Oh, right. No, it's not going.
Really? What
happened?
I blew it. What happened? What did you do?
I don't know. I'm not that smooth. I think that the real gist of it is that she did not need me in the kind of intangible love sense as much as I needed her. I remember trying to deny that. Love has nothing to do with a power struggle between two parties. But I mean, the sad truth of the matter is sometimes, and most of the time, one of the people loves the other person or cares or needs the other person more than the other one does.
Oh, like the guys are like, yeah, man, yeah, you know, like, and then the girls are like, and then the girls to the girl are like, you know, like, and then the guys to the girl are like, damn, man, that girl, you know, that girl's had sex, you know, and that's about how it is.
I don't know, it wasn't like going out or anything like that, you know.
Do any of you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend?
I used to. I used to.
Have you ever kissed a girl, Douglas?
Yes. Once.
Have you ever?
She kissed me twice.
Did you like it?
At the time, yes.
We're standing there and we're handcuffed together. So we go to Mike's house and we're like trying to saw through the metal. We like break it off with a sledgehammer finally, and my hand's all aching. Yeah, we're going out now. When I was very young, I always told myself I'll be married by the time I'm 23. As soon as I met Claire, I mean, it was within a week of meeting her that I knew that she was the one for me. We're fixing up and everything, trying to turn the place into a home, moving all the animals and other things out for Claire to move in. She's my fiance. I had 2 snakes, I had 2 tanks of lizards, I had probably like 12 or so frogs, all kinds of animals pretty much everywhere. Got a closet right here. Now this was probably piled waist high with clothes at one point. This is the bedroom here. We've done a lot of work in here. Kitchen walls have been repainted. The bathroom is really a big work. We refinished the bathtub ourselves. In the kitchen you could see that we're starting to do wallpapering the wall with labels. It's kind of a neat idea that my mom did when we were kids, so I thought it would be kind of cool to do it again. Over here is the fish tank, one of the few remaining animals left in the house. And that's pretty much it for the house. Trying to get it turned into more of a home than a zoo or a bachelor pad of mine. It's coming along good now. Yeah.
Listen, I was excited in the heat of battle, and this means nothing, and it will never, ever, ever happen again.
Okay. Girls are gross. No, I don't know. I like girls. What can I say? I like talking to girls and going out with girls. I like girls in general. I have trouble holding down relationships, let's just say.
That was the other.
I've never been really like close to someone emotionally. I kind of want something more serious than, you know, just fooling around, because it gets old, I guess.
Have you been reading my diary? Get out of my room!
How old do you think you'll be when you first start going out with girls?
I'm not sure. It's also kind of a matter if my mom will let me.
There was a phase where I found myself trying to pursue these very gorgeous women that I felt like I had a chance with now. And I felt like because I looked different, I should carry myself differently as well.
Oh, 1, 2, 3!
I didn't hang out with the cool kids in high school, and I just felt as though maybe college would be my way to kind of hang out in this group of attractive people that I didn't get to hang out with. Last year in particular went through what my father would call, I smelled myself. And I think there was a phase in which I kind of gained a lot of confidence and then gained a little too much confidence.
Everybody happy!
I turned into a little bit of a jerk. But it didn't last very long, so that was fortunate.
Have you had a girlfriend?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you have a girlfriend now?
I'm in the process of getting one. It's just, I knew that question was coming too, but, you know, I think I'm working on it. I'll have one. It's not a problem.
At the end of the day, you'll realize that we're all alone in this world. As much as everyone is around us, we're all alone. And everyone is going through their own life. It just happens to be that our lives cross, and those that can weave each other's lives together, I think, are probably the most fulfilled.
Can you have babies and not be married?
Yes. Well, you can't have them, but you can adopt them. I think you can have them when you're, because I mean it doesn't matter. You don't have to get married to have a baby because it's something that everybody has to do, or you can have an operation not to have it. Well, you have to be with a boy to have a baby. No, you don't.
Wait, Imani, quit being bossy.
No, choice.
This is my daughter, Imani. She's 3 years old. She's my only child thus far. I had Imani, I was 19. Her father, we went to high school together. We had a little encounter, and then I had found out I was pregnant with Imani. I don't know if it was just to blow me off, but to tell me he never did like me and things of that nature, and I still was in love with him, that kind of hurts, you know. And I grew out of it. You know, it's been 2 years and a half, and I grew out of it. It's like, whatever. Now we're just friends. We get along well for Imani's sake.
Say mama. Mama. Say dada. Dada.
I'm not a big fan of living with a lot of people. Like, I can have my own place and I'll be over here all the time, but it's just knowing that I'm able to leave and go be by myself when I want. And I have Imani now, so she'll be looking up to me, so I have to build a better foundation for her to have a different upbringing, a different atmosphere. The things you do rubs off on other people, and it's like, if a person that has never believed that they can do anything, they'll look at you and be like, oh, I grew up with her. If she can do it, I can do it. I plan January 22nd to relocate to Louisville, Texas, which is 30 minutes from Dallas. My dream in Texas is just go down there and go to school, finish with masters in education and counseling. I want to do better for me and my daughter, Imani. Basically, to give her something that I didn't have. I'm not going to say buy everything that I never could get, but just shop to the point of wanting and needs, not just what I need. I'm going to miss my family, you know, but to me it's not a big thing. Just change.
Let the church say amen.
I know a lot of people in this town, like, it's all about work, and that's where, like, they get their peace of mind. But for me, it's always been about, like, traveling, my time with friends and family, and what I do outside of that box. And it is a box. I work in a cubicle, you know?
I think I want to try and go into advertising when I'm in my 20s, 30s or so. And then all the meanwhile, like in my free time, be writing, try and get things published, like just as a hobby, but try and get things published. And then when I retire, I'm definitely going to live out in like some rural place and just like be on my own and write like all day, all night. I just be writing.
Lucy did get a job in publishing. She works as an assistant publicist at HarperCollins in Midtown.
I'm in a phase where I think constantly about moving out west and like being, you know, mountains, fresh air.
Yeah.
I'm like an outdoors person. I like to go hiking on weekends. I'm not like a big city girl.
How is it going now?
It's going.
Where do you live?
Still with my parents. I'm telling you, I just think you guys would be surprised from looking at me now, who I could actually be if you put me in a totally different place. I'm incredibly adaptable, and I could live on a farm, and I could...
You should have stock and Whole Foods.
I think a lot of people our age have the organic farm fantasy.
My friends were all like hippies. I mean, they were just all totally this stuff. And I'm sure I was...
I think it's kind of a fantasy, Lucy. I don't really...
No, I don't think it's really going to happen.
Okay.
It's like a regression to a primitive time when you actually lived off the land. I feel like there are people that do this in Colorado.
There are people that do this in California, and they've been doing it since like 1966.
Okay, there you go. Live off the land.
Are you kidding me? Look at you. You're wearing pearls, diamonds, and a houndstooth coat. And you think you could live off the land?
I hate you for making that comment right now. Like, I really hate you. Isn't it the weirdest thing that 3 native New Yorkers, none of us want to be here?
Where would you like to live?
I don't know. I'm looking. I remember thinking when my parents got divorced and we moved out of Manhattan and I switched to a public school, that I liked the fact that my life on the outside was now more normal or typical. But after I graduated, I made the mistake of moving right back into the city, and I moved a block away from where I grew up. So for a little while, I had an apartment, I had a job, a real job with a salary, and then I just decided to quit my job and get in my car and drive across the country. Growing up in New York, I never really identified with being an American. I'm fascinated by different things that are just so basic and American, like pickup trucks and guns and churches everywhere.
I might be a teacher before I get married, or I might own a store.
Well, I know what I want to do. I want to write. And I sort of realized when I was in New York this summer that I could stay in New York and just try to get a job that had, you know, something to do with writing or publishing. That I think I would benefit more from actually going out and doing things and seeing things worth writing about than just getting a little publishing job in New York. My original plan was to drive to California and live with a friend in Santa Cruz. I spent the drive over listening to the radio, and this whole Katrina story was unfolding. I wanted to come down here, but I didn't know if I would be getting in the way, if there was something I could actually do. 10 minutes after getting out of my car, I met a woman who works at the United Way who told me about the command center. And I wandered in the next morning. I've learned a lot in 3 weeks. Basic stuff that you just don't learn in college, like how things sort of work. I learned a lot about government policy, and I don't want to sound cynical, but I also feel like I learned a lot about how things don't work, too. I mean, you sort of have this idea when you're a kid or when you're not really in the real world that there's kind of an overall system or that someone's in charge and things somehow work. And then this whole problem is sort of exposed the way things don't always work. There are definitely moments where I sort of felt like, where are the grown-ups? Who's in charge here?
As part of the Katrina disaster relief, Lewis is stationed in New Orleans to aid in the Coast Guard's search and rescue missions.
That's Coast Guard's main job is Homeland Security now, taking care of the people here in the United States. So as soon as something like this happens, I want to be a part of it. A lot of guys lost their homes who were active duty, so we set up housing for them. We also set up housing for temporary active duty guys like myself. So we got a bunch of RVs going out through here. This place is packed. It's humbling because you start thinking about your life and all the struggles you're going through, and then you go down and you see that these people got their entire lives just washed out into the ocean. And it brings you back to realize, like, you know, maybe I don't have it so bad. What's up, Rand? What's up? Are you leaving this week? Are you leaving? No matter what the situation was growing up, my mom always told me that I was able to conquer anything. I was, you know, that I would be something great. You know, even with our rough relationship and her not being there most of the time, she always told me I was going to do something. And the reason why I wanted to take care of my mother, because she was taking care of us. And in the long run, we're all separate. No one lives with her. You know, the 2 boys and the girl live with my auntie. My sister lives on her own. My brother Jose doesn't even have a home. He just stays in friends' houses. My brother Bobby stays at his girl's house. My brother Jeremiah is in a foster care. We're all separate, you know. My plan is to get everybody down to New York, and that's where we're going to start our new future, the new generation, you know.
When I get punished, I'll be thinking about, like, saying that I can't wait to grow big and, you know, have my wife and my own kids and everything. And I'm gonna be just like one of these people in TV. No, in real life, I'm gonna be just like them. We gonna move. If I move, I'ma have me one of those a house, and then I'ma have me a playground in a backyard, so I don't got to go hardly nowhere to go to the playground.
It was once the largest housing project in the world. 40 years after its conception, the Robert Taylor homes are coming down. This once celebrated housing project has failed.
There was a lot of memories here. There were good memories, then there were bad memories. But it's kind of happy because there will be a change and it'll be different atmosphere. Hopefully the whole neighborhood itself will become a better place.
That's the slums for you, you know. And the slums gonna be the slums, you know. The hood gonna be the hood, and people in the hood gonna do what people in the hood do. So none was never no surprise to me. You know. And it's been really hard on me because since we've been in here, I lost my Uncle Ronald in the county. Then I lost my auntie, my mother's sister. Then I lost my father's sister. Then I lost my father. You know what I'm saying? All that. Them 3 was back to back, you know, within 3 months, you know what I'm saying? And man, I was sitting, I was just in the cell. I ain't just laid back, just frustrated, you know what I'm saying? That was real hard on me there, you know.
What's gonna happen is what's gonna happen. You come to this world, you gonna die. You might live, you don't know when. You might just go to sleep and don't even wake up the next morning. You never know.
could live anywhere in the world, where would you want to live?
In Milwaukee. Because it's quiet there. There's only one cop.